Level 1. You walk into the store because the door was open and the air conditioning was free. That's the truth you don't say out loud. It's 97 degrees outside and your apartment doesn't cool past 84, so you came here, into the marble and the cold air and the smell of leather that costs more than your rent. You tell yourself you're just looking. The store knows you're just looking before you finish the thought. The associate by the entrance clocks you in under 2 seconds. Not your face, your shoes, the watch you're not wearing, the bag you walked in with that came from a different store with a different name. She doesn't approach. She doesn't have to. She just shifts her weight slightly, angles herself toward the next person coming through the door, and you become furniture. You pick up a wallet, $890. You turn it over looking for a price like it might be a mistake. A second associate appears near you, not to help, to monitor. He folds his hands in front of him and says nothing and watches your hands the whole time. You put the wallet down exactly where you found it. You straighten it so it sits perfectly square, an apology nobody asked for. You leave without buying the bottle of water you couldn't have afforded anyway. The cold air follows you to the door and then the heat takes it back. You stand on the sidewalk and feel something that isn't quite shame, just small, the kind of small that has nothing to do with your height. The first rule at $0, the store decides who you are before you open your mouth. And at $0, it decided you were whether coming through an open door. Level 2, you saved it. 12 months of skipping things, the overtime, the lunches you ate from a container at your desk, $5,000 in an account that finally has a comma in it. You walk into the store on purpose this time. You wear your best. The shoes are clean. You practice looking like you belong before you left the house, in the mirror, twice. The associate greets you now. Barely. A nod, let me know if you need anything, already walking away before the sentence lands. You're not furniture anymore. You're a maybe. A maybe is allowed to touch things. You find a pair of sunglasses, $380. You can afford them. That's the strange part. You can actually buy them. But buying them means buying nothing else this month. And you stand there doing the math you swore you'd left behind, the gas or groceries math. Except now it's sunglasses, or the next 3 weeks. You buy them. You hand over the card and you watch the associate's face for the thing you came here for. Recognition. It doesn't come. She wraps the glasses in tissue, slides them across the counter, says, "Enjoy," and her eyes are already on the door behind you where someone better is walking in. You walk out with a bag that has a store's name on it and you hold it so the name shows. On the train home, you catch your reflection in the dark window. You look like someone holding a bag. The second rule at $5,000, you can buy the object. You cannot buy the way they look at the people who don't have to think about buying it. Level 3. Enough that a single purchase doesn't reorganize your month. You stop doing the math at the register. You still do it in your head, but quietly now, the way you'd hum a song you're embarrassed to like. The store treats you like a customer. An actual one. The associate walks you to the thing you asked about instead of pointing. She brings you a second option without being asked. This one's more popular, but this one lasts longer. She's selling, but she's selling to you, and after the years of being sold around, being sold to feels like being seen. You buy a bag. $1,200. It's the most you've ever spent on a single thing that wasn't a car or a deposit. Your hands are steady when you pay. That steadiness is new. You earn the steadiness more than you earn the bag. You carry it out and nobody watches your hands. The monitor that shadowed you at $1 doesn't exist at this level. You're allowed to touch everything now. You realize the watching was never about theft. At $0, you were a risk. At $25,000, you're a transaction. You catch yourself standing a little straighter, not performing it like you did at $5,000, just standing. The third rule, at $25,000, the store stops watching you and starts working you. And being worked feels so much better than being watched that you almost don't notice it's still not respect. Level 4. The associate remembers your name, not because you're memorable, because the system told her to. You bought twice in 3 months and somewhere a note got attached to your profile. And now when you walk in, someone says, "Good to see you again," and means the account, not the man. You don't correct it. The mistake works in your favor for once. They offer you a coffee, a real one, in a real cup while you browse. You sit in a chair that's positioned for sitting, not for show, and someone brings out three options laid on velvet and talks you through them like a friend with taste. You buy a watch. $6,000. The number would have stopped your heart at $5,000. Now it's a Tuesday. They don't put it in a bag. They put it in a box, and the box goes in another box, and the second box has a ribbon, and the ribbon is the point. The ribbon says the store wants to be remembered in your house. You walk out, and the associate walks you to the door, actually to the door, and opens it, and the heat hits you the same as it did as $0, but this time you have somewhere cold to go back to. The fourth rule at $100,000. The store learns your name to protect the next sale. And you let them, because being remembered for your money is the first thing that's ever felt like being remembered at all. Level 5. You don't go to the store. The store starts arranging itself around the possibility of you. You get a text, not from a number, from a name. We're holding something we think you'll want before it hits the floor. You didn't ask. The asking is the service. You walk in and you don't browse. A specific person is waiting, and they've already pulled three things in your size, your taste, your history, laid out in a private room with a door that closes. The floor, the marble, the cold air, the open door where you once stood being weather, all of that is for other people now. You're behind a door. You buy a coat. $14,000. You don't see a price tag the entire visit. Price tags are for the floor. Back here, numbers are discussed, not displayed, and discussing them is optional. They offer to have it tailored and delivered. You will never carry a bag out of this store again. The bag, the name showing, the train window, that was a level you passed through and didn't notice leaving. You sit in the private room and realize the most expensive thing they're selling isn't the coat, it's the door. The fifth rule at $500,000. The store stops being a place you enter and becomes a service that opens only for you. And the quietest rooms have the highest prices on the menu you never see. Level 6. They know your calendar, not in a way anyone announced. The associate, who is now called an advisor, somehow texts you the week before your anniversary, the week before the holidays, the week your bonus historically lands. The timing is never an accident. It's a system trained to feel like intuition. You stop going to one store. The stores come to you, plural, and they compete. A house car arrives, a garment bag is brought to your home, and three options hang in your own closet for the weekend, and someone returns Monday for whatever you don't keep. No purchase pressure. The pressure is the comfort. The comfort is the pressure. You buy without deciding to buy. A jacket stays in the closet and a charge appears on a statement you don't read because someone else reads it for you. You don't experience the transaction. You experience the result. You attend a dinner, the store hosts, 8 people, a designer flown in, a room above the city. Nobody mentions a product the entire night. The products are the reason everyone's there and the one thing nobody names. You drive home and understand that you've been sold to all evening and you couldn't point to the moment it happened. The 6th rule at $2 million, the best service is the kind you can't feel. And the store you can't feel selling to you is the one taking the most. Level 7, you don't have an advisor, you have a relationship, and the relationship has a name, and the name knows your children's names and which one is allergic to wool. The brand doesn't sell you what's on the floor. The brand makes you what isn't, a bag in a color that was never released. The thing does not exist for anyone else. You walk into a flagship in a city you're visiting for the first time, and they know you before you sign anything because the system flagged you across every location on Earth, and a manager you've never met stands up and says your name. Like you're expected. You were expected. You're always expected now. You're shown things in a room with no logo on the door, things that won't appear in any campaign, things offered before they're offered to anyone. You stopped applying to be a customer. Things apply to be owned by you. The 7th rule at $10 million, the store no longer sells you objects. It manufactures your uniqueness and sells it back to you, and you pay most for the proof that no one else can have it. Level 8, the brand consults you. The relationship that began with someone watching your hands at $0 has inverted so completely that now a creative director asks what you think the next collection should feel like. Not to sell you. To learn from you. Your taste is data the house wants. You are invited to things that aren't sales. a preview before the preview. A dinner where the designer asks your opinion and writes it down. You're not in the room because you'll buy. You're in the room because what you buy tells them what everyone else will want in 2 years. You've become a forecast. A piece is named after a place you mentioned once. A line is built around a color you wore. The influence isn't loud. It never is at this altitude. But the house you once apologized to by straightening a wallet now studies you to decide its future. The eighth rule at $50 million, you stop being the customer and start being the blueprint. And the blueprint is worth more to them than any single sale could ever be. Level 9. There is no store. There's a phone number that reaches a person whose entire job is the few people like you. The brand doesn't have a product for you. The brand has a posture towards you, and the posture is gravity. You don't buy. You're brought into. A house archive opened after hours, the lights turned on for one person. A piece that was never going to be sold, because the relationship justified bending a rule that exists specifically so it can be bent for someone exactly like you. You walk through a flagship and it's closed to the public and open to you, and the closing is the gift. The thing money buys at $100 million isn't the object and isn't the door and isn't even the uniqueness. It's the absence of everyone else. The room emptied, the world held back, the same chain of marble and cold air and open doors, all of it cleared so that for 1 hour it exists only for you. The ninth rule at $100 million, the store stops measuring what you can buy and starts measuring what it would do to keep you. And what it would do has no price tag, because price tags were always for the people standing in the heat by the open door. Somewhere right now, someone is walking into a store because the door was open and the air conditioning was free. It's 97 degrees outside. They tell themselves they're just looking. The associate clocks them in under 2 seconds, not the face, the shoes, and shifts her weight toward the next person coming through the door, and they become furniture. They pick up a wallet, turn it over, looking for a price like it might be a mistake, and put it back exactly where they found it, perfectly square, an apology nobody asked for. They don't know yet that the marble doesn't change. The cold air doesn't change. The wallet on the shelf is the same wallet at every level. You are the same person walking through the same door. The store just decides who you are based on what's standing next to your name. The store doesn't treat you differently at every level of wealth. The store treats your wealth. It never once was looking at you.